So you're still saying I need to be careful what I say? There's certain things that I'm not allowed to talk about. What about talking about Jose? Can I mention him anymore? So that's definitely a no then, isn't it? That look is kind of no, don't even go there. Gotcha. So look, let's talk about the 15th of June 2021. And look, this is assuming that this thing, what we're talking about, happened on the 15th of June 2021. Did it happen on another day? Was the 15th just the day that we was given as the day this thing happened? But look, I think my point with this situation with Don is many, many things. He is a narcissist. He is a controller. He would apparently indeed be involved in SA of some description, and I'm sure that that's going to come out in the wash further if that is the case. Now, I'm certainly not saying it isn't, because it would appear that there are plenty of people who are corroborating stories of such a thing, and I wouldn't put it past him. I genuinely wouldn't. But because it's his controlling, his manipulation, his narcissism, like I say, he is many, many things. But I think what we have to assume by that is Don likes control. He likes being in control. He likes to have a hold over people. It would appear that he could have a hold over Candace. We've certainly seen elements of that would show true. And he's not a nice person. We've also heard the recording in my last message that clearly states certain things out of his mouth that isn't in tune with what any of us would say. Look, he is a loving, doting father. But is what he's saying actually indicating something else? And what I mean by that is, look, if Don did something, if Don was the driving force behind what happened to Summer, now we have to believe that Candace, we have to believe that Grandis, and anybody else that know anything would keep their mouth shut. That somebody wouldn't come out and say, Don did this. And nobody has. Nobody has turned round and said a statement that points the finger at Don solidly and says, Don did this on this day. And I believe if Don had have done something directly, somebody would have said something. Somebody, Grandis perhaps. I think she would have been the first to throw Don under the bus. Unless Don has something of some severe nature that could backfire. They do say people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. So perhaps Don could do something so bad, but know something so bad that it stops anybody from talking. That is the only thing that would kind of give him a get-out-of-jail-free card, so to speak. But look, we know that he is controlling and coercive. So we have to go back to the things that we know. And we know that at some point there was apparently this horse pond trip. We don't know it was specifically on that day, but we have to assume that it was. We know that there's lies around it. We know that there is a question over whether Grandis truly was there. But now we seem to have additional information regarding the relationship between Candace and H. So if we're trusting what Jose said... Look, I didn't say anything of any sort of derogatory nature, did I? Okay, I get your point. So look, if we're going to believe what he said, then we have to assume that there was a potential for something to be going on between them two. And you could say that there would then be a potential for Summer to be spending a period of time on her own, unsupervised, unwatched, and for something to happen. Which would then go in line with the situation where Summer is submerged and Hunter then runs to go grab her, pulls her out. Because, look, why would that be said? Why would that little element be said if it wasn't deemed important or wasn't enough to be spoken of? Do you know what I mean? If you was out swimming and doing all this stuff, then that obviously was significant enough to be mentioned. So look, something happens at the horse pond and we get home. Now, we then don't know 100% the state that Summer was in that car. We don't know. But it would appear that that video was taken and that video was then given to YouTube. Now, was the video given to people on YouTube to prove that it happened on that day and to kind of corroborate a story? Or was there something else? Was they trying to hide something else that's happened, but kind of try and tie up loose ends? I don't know. But we also have a story surrounding Hunter and Grandis. Grandis apparently had confided in a friend, and that friend had said that Grandis said that Hunter had returned to the house. And then Grandis went on to have a sleep. So was there a period of time where Summer was alone on the grounds of the house? And did something happen during that period of time to Summer? Now, I think that it's much more likely that Candace is the perpetrator, or she is the person who called Don for a cover-up, rather than Don doing something. So I would say that something either happened at the waterhole, the horse pond, that then resulted in harm to Summer, or Summer did indeed get home, she was left in the car, and left asleep, and something happened, or Summer got out and was messing about, and something happened, perhaps with the fridge. But I believe something happened to Summer. I believe something happened to Summer, and I believe that Candace called on Don to then help clear up. And I believe that this has happened, and Don is using the things that he says as being coercive, being controlling, being manipulative again. I think he's being nasty. I think he's being a narcissist. And that is part of why he said what he did on the phone. This was an anger. This was an angry father. He had lost his play toy. Whether he said, can you remember, he had made a statement in another interview that it was Summer's fault because she'd gone outside. That was ultimately Summer's undoing. She had gone outside, which then would lead you to believe that Summer did get home that day. She did get home. She was not being watched. Perhaps she wasn't being watched because Hunter and Candace were at the house. They were at the house together, and while they were doing something, Summer was doing something else that led to an accident. And I believe he's angry. I believe Don is angry, and I believe that all of these people around, such as Jodie Sue, such as Ali, they are all hiding. They are all hiding something. I don't know whether Jodie Sue knows what has happened. She might have, that scream may have indeed been someone finding Summer on the grounds of that property. Because all of these little things, if you bring them all in, they do all start to make sense. And you can't ignore certain things. But I think the more we pull people apart individually and look at what they're doing and the way they're acting, it does paint quite a clear picture. I cannot see Don dropping Candace in it because they could indeed drop Don in it. Maybe he was being inappropriate with Summer. Maybe there is things that he doesn't want to be said that would then raise questions and alarm bells. But he's going to have his snidey digs. He is going to make them pay for what they did. Again, we saw the interview where he held his son close to him. And someone did make a very valid statement in the comments. And they said he was making him stand there because it was almost like, if I've got to stand here and face the music, you're going to stand here and face the music. You're going to listen to it. Little elements again comes back. We heard that the son had turned around and said it wasn't my fault. Again, what wasn't your fault? The fact that you weren't watching Summer and Summer had gone off, perhaps got inside that fridge, stayed in there and something happened. Or foot fell, got bitten by something. Something happened on that property. And Dom was called in to get rid of it. And why were they so sure that she would not be found? We have the connection with Dotson and the fact that Summer could have indeed been cremated. She could have been. She could have been. And that is something that would then guarantee that Summer's not going to be found. They are trying to stop people getting onto the property, so perhaps Summer is still on that property somewhere. Perhaps she was cremated and her ashes spread on that property somewhere, so they're scared that there's a potential for ashes to be found. But I think we are looking at an incident that happened between the horse pond and home. And I believe that Candace is obviously not saying anything. She's throwing everybody under the bus as a deflective nature, because that's what kind of person she is. But I think she's got the arrogance that she knows that there's nothing to find. And she's quite sure that Don's not going to say anything. She's sure that the boys aren't going to say anything. But look, I don't think Don did something directly. I think he was too involved in Summer. I think she was potentially his play toy, and he wouldn't have got rid of it. I think if you're going to go down that route, then familial abduction and hiding her would have been more likely than him to harm her. And I think he's kicked off at people, and the comments he made and the graphic nature of which he described Summer being hurt, I think was done purposefully to get at Candace. I think that he was getting at people. I think he was doing it to be nasty, just to be nasty and put that picture, because Don himself is pissed off. I think he's angry and he wants to lash out, but there's certain things he can't say, there's certain people he can't have a go at, but he's angry. This is an angry man. When you listen to what he's saying, he is angry. But there is too many indications here that is saying someone was hurt on that property, and this was Don being called to help cover it up. It got covered up, and here we are. I'd like to know what you guys think, because again, the more I look into it, the more I think about it, that's what it looks like. Don't get me wrong, there's other stuff going on around here. The trip from those people, not mentioning anyone's name, into Rogersville, if you strip that down, take away all the noise, all the drama, and you just say, look, you've got a group of people come down from New York, they come at Rogersville in the U-Haul van. Don isn't there because Don's away working. The group goes back, but they leave one person there, and that person goes to Don's property. Don then comes back, and not long after he's back, there is an argument. Don gets put away for a few days. That person then leaves. And a few months later, Summer disappears. That's without all the noise stripped back. That's everything stripped back, stripped away. What does that look like to you? Group of people comes to a place to see a person who's not there. One person stays to wait for him to get back. Has words, argument, leaves, daughter goes missing. I'll leave you to think about that. But at the moment, like I say, I think something happened to her on that property. Candace was neglectful. Candace was busy doing something she shouldn't have been doing. Don got called to clear up. Don's pissed off about it. Let me know.